Broken glass everywhere. Welcome to the METV podcast, the first coming out the gates with the daddies in partnership with Good Fathers Only Entertainment. My man in the building in Atlanta, Kevin Vaughan.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir. How you doing?
bringing it. Oh, real good, Kev. We bringing it live. We got some fathers in the building. My man Miles, you know, he been on my head, so I came on in and we gonna kick off this podcast talking about the dads, the men, right? The first half is how we solve some of these problems for these boys, right? Who's the answer? What's the solution? And we're gonna get in depth in that. In the second half, it's gonna be all about daddy, celebrating daddy, loving daddy, giving daddy what it deserves, right? And so before we get into it, I got a couple of people I gotta, pay some bills or whatever you want to call it. This is my first sponsor. I'd like to give a shout out to Etc. Assistant. Do you need any more information? Etc. Assistant at www.etceterassistant.com. Virtual personal assistant, Michigan mobile notary, and bail bonds agent. Number is 313-771-4628. Also got to give it a shout out to A1 Plumbing, my man Sean. They handle their business. A1 from day one. 11930 Grand River Avenue. No job is too big or small. Call 313-478-2944. That's 313-478-2944. I've been chasing that brother to get him in Good Fathers Only, and he handled his business with that plumbing. I brought him over. He came in and did his thing. And Tiffany at Etc. is always on point. Of course, she's part of BSN, our Business Shower Network, so we want to give a shout out to them. And then our last sponsor is Heather Rue, the personal change coach. Workshops, training, books, and publication, personal coaching. Call 313-759-7855. And, of course, Emmy Apparel at emiyworld.com. Get your Emmy on. Get it on your kids. Get it in your house. But whatever you do, get some. Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to kick off this show with my brothers. Dewan Carlton is in the building all the way from Detroit and Atlanta.
Need that.
My man David Paterson, Good Fathers Only, is in the building being represented, also in the building. And my friend and brother, Mr. Loyalty himself, Melvin Dacres, is in the building. The Lean On Power Hour, them boys do it big with that prayer and helping men get it done. So, gentlemen, we're going to jump right into this because, we always have these conversations. A lot of people, they not up on when fathers or men really talk. We have these conversations. They might be in the barbershop or what have you, but we make sure that we get it in often around solutions. So our podcast will always be our family and solutions, Brother Kevin, right? And so the issue is, how do we solve, right, what's going on with our boys? What is the real issue, and how do we solve that? What does that look like to you? I'm gonna start out with you, Brother Dave. What do you think the issue is?
Well, as I always like to say, no one can give what they don't know. And what we find is that many times with our youth, they have models that don't have the information to help them be the best they can be.
Yeah.
It's not a default. It's not a fault of the father. If the father's father passed down knowledge that's limited, it's going to be a limited outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So before we can have expectation of our youth today, we have to ensure that they gain the knowledge. The
Yeah.
word tells us my people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. So it's important that we start off by making sure that they get the right kind of knowledge. Now, right is a subjective term. So we have to realize that in order for our fathers to be able to really share this knowledge, we have to do our due diligence. We have to study. We have to research. We have to get the information that is out there in order to be able to pass it down. But we can't do that if we all divide it. I call it pod mentality. You have a group over here, a group over there, but nobody's coming together to be able to work as a team. And we know that there's no I in team. We have to come together to share the knowledge. If you got a little knowledge, I got a little knowledge, Melvin got a little knowledge, Dwayne got a little knowledge. If we all bring this knowledge together, we can come up with a working solution to help each other.
Well, that's what we do. You know what I mean? That's why I wanted this, and I was so glad my brother was in town. Brother Ron, enlighten the people on how do we solve the issue with our boys.
Hey, we first got to come together, man, as a community. You know, the brothers, we need to come together as the fathers. And like you say, Cal, we come together and we talk about it.
Yeah.
We bring these issues to the table and we talk about it, you know. And once we share our stories with each other, man, we can all come together and then we can go out here and get these young brothers. They starving for it, man. They need that. And it's up to us, the older generation, to pass that down to the younger generation. That knowledge, like you say, man, that information is strong, man. And I tell my kids all the time, like, hey, you know, I didn't know how to do this when I got y'all, but I tried. And I tell these young brothers, man, the first thing you can do is show effort. Try. I don't care how much money you give them kids or the whole nine, man. They need you there, that presence, you know. So that's the start.
I add to that because I always tell them 24 hours is a try. After that, you're doing it. And you got to remember that that is the key to anything. We always say what we're trying to do. A try is only 24 hours. If you don't get past 24 hours, you're not really doing nothing but try. But once you get past 24 hours, you can. Kevin, how do you feel? What's your solution to this situation with our boys?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity, guys, and salute all the brothers that are on right now today. You know, Calvin, I wrote down some quick notes. You know, this is based on my experience. These are the 5 influence areas. Now, there's more than this, but our family is the influencers, right?
Right.
The next one is our church. Our school is the next one. And then our community, and then, of course, our higher learning, you know, whether it's training or going to college or whatever, it's higher learning. So part of that, and I look back at my mom and dad who did a great job, but it's just they did their best and just didn't know. And even me growing up with my son and daughter and family, I didn't know certain things. You just had to try to figure it out, right? And not get in trouble doing it. So we're not knocking anybody. We're not putting down anybody. We're just saying we got to continue to help the next generation. We got to help just educate them. We've got to guide them. We got to encourage them. But guess what? More than anything else, gentlemen, we got to have a conversation. That's probably, if I could say anything that didn't happen to me, I didn't really have a conversation with my dad. Didn't have a conversation with anybody really, you know, about the things of life. So the biggest thing is communication. We just got to help get to know somebody. There's a great book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, but you got to be a friend first, and we got to listen to others. So I think one of the keys, guys, is that we're going to have to communicate with our young people and help them, listen to them and guide them and keep it moving.
All right. Perfect. Brother Mel, give the people some love.
Well, one of the things that fathers are called to do is to train up their children. And in training up their children is teaching them what they know and also to be transparent of what struggles they have dealt with. We can't let our boys know that, hey, everything's perfect. I never dealt with anything. Of course, you have to be age appropriate about certain things, but to share. I'm willing, I have 2 boys, and I share with them things that I learned, things that I struggle with, and it helps them to understand how a man deals with certain things. Boys need direction, And if we are not willing to direct them in the way that they go, they're not going to go, they're going to go their own way, you know? So it's important for us to, as fathers, to teach them what we know, teach them the struggles that we have. Just be transparent, be honest. And with that is to also show love, because no one's going to listen to you if you are, you know, being rude, you're being disrespectful. You know, they pick up on that and they'll shut down real quick. The reason my boys are able to listen to me is because I show them respect. And the fact that I show them respect, they respect me. So they're willing to listen to the things that I teach them. So those are the things that are important.
Hey man, you know, that's funny that you say that, right? Because we, you know, we all, everybody in this room, right, outside of really Mel, right, we've been through some different stories on fatherhood. Mel winning, you hear me? Mel in the house, right, doing this thing, right? Because that's the best place for us fathers, are in the house with our children, right? We was reading the other day and going through some research. 29% of our culture is married. That's it. 29%, right? So when you really get into the trauma, the drama, and all of the different aspects, the system has produced what its intent was, right? Which is reverse, right? And we see a lot of it, and I share this with you guys all the time because, Juan, you mentored with me, so we could stand in the facility. And my man George Ward, he always talk about this, right? We can be standing in the facility, and the boys walk through the door. You could tell who daddy in their life. Instantly, right? Then the other aspects of that is having to remove the emotional construct that they have learned from that area. That's very, very telling, right? When our boys are very, very emotional, that emotional, right? Because remember, boys have a tendency to mimic, right? And so in our mentoring program, Kev, we use daddies, right? Why? Because fathers can see differently. A father that's impactful, that's right. Even my man Victor, right, who was denied access to his kids since Hurricane Katrina, right? Has not seen his kids, right? And this way, he came in and mentored. Not only, he says all the time, it saved him by helping him to help some other kids. So when you are thrown away as a father, this is a way that we can help you. So my thing to you, Juan, is, right, when you see that, what are your first thoughts, right, when we see our young men in trouble like that?
Oh yeah, we definitely got an eye for it, man. You know, the real fathers, the people that's involved in these kids' life, we got an eye for it, so we can see it. And when I see it, I put these young brothers to the side, man, and I just mentor them, man. You know what I'm saying? And they their eyes be wide open and glossy because they need that affection that they don't get, or maybe not get from home or nobody. You know, so I tell you all the time, it's up to us, man. It's up to us to pull these young brothers to the side and give them that knowledge because they need it, man. You know what I'm saying? And we got it, and that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
That's that scripture, man. Turning the hearts, Malachi 4:6, what we did to walk on, turning the hearts of the children to the father and turning the hearts of the fathers to the children. Kev, one of the things, what are you seeing in your region when it comes to boys?
Excellent question. You know, one area with the Men Let's Talk Network, gentlemen, is that I'm finding in our community as we reach out, whether it's mentoring or going to career days and, you know, just engaging in the school system for males, we're talking about attention. Some of them just can't believe that we're paying attention to them. And that is very important. So when we recognize or get around some young men, we have to let them know, hey, we're human as well. We made some mistakes, but guess what? The attention is on you. The other thing you guys talked about as well is, which we have to do, we have to evaluate everybody. You can't put everybody in the same bucket. Every young man can't be mentored or evaluated the same way. So we got to evaluate, the individual. Secondly, we got to do the analysis, right? And then third, we got to get to know that person. And I believe once you have the time to do that, things start opening up. And also you start to learn about them. And like someone said earlier, their eyes just light up, man, about, hey, this guy is listening to me. Here's an engineer, here's a dad, or whatever your bio is. You're actually getting involved with them to see what can we do to help you out. And to do that, you have to communicate and pay attention to the young men. So that's what we do, Calvin and gentlemen. We actually just pay attention to them because we've been there. People think oh man, I'm 63. I used to be a baby. I used to be a young man too at one time. So
Right.
we've gone through some things. Some of the young people don't think we used to, go through some stuff, but yeah, we went through some stuff too. So we can learn a few things. In fact, we even tell the young men occasionally, hey, I can tell your future if you do certain things. I can tell you exactly what's going to happen to you. So we kind of mentor them that way by giving them the right attention and the most positive attention, but letting them know also too how important they are at the same time.
Awesome, Brother Mel.
Well, I also do some mentoring as well, and we
Yeah.
have a number of boys that's in our mentorship program.
Mhm.
I'm mostly in charge of the 5 to 12-year-old boys. One of them is my son, also is in that program. The one thing that is important is to show consistency.
Mhm.
Show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make sure you talk to each one. Make sure you get into their lives.
Right.
See what's
Yeah.
going on, because they want somebody to care about them. A number of our boys, a number of our kids, don't have fathers in their home,
Yeah.
and so just to come in and to see a male there caring about them, want to know what's going on in school, what's going on in regular life, and teach them different things to be responsible adults. It says something. It's saying, hey, I know I don't have a father, but I see this guy, and he cares. So it means a lot to them. So even in situations where they don't have a father, that's where men who want to be a father in their lives, or want to be a responsible male in their lives, can come in and make a big, powerful impact.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
Yeah.
I before I come to you, Dave, I really that point that you made, right, that you just made, Mel, is the fact that you touched on something, right, in that place, because right, the kids need the consistency. What they don't need is the mentor that's gonna hit their mama, right? The mentor, of course, we see a number of mentors, right? I saw it a lot when I was coaching, right? We don't need you to mentor the son to hit the mama, right? We need you to mentor the son, right? We need you to be consistent in the son's life, right? And the importance of fatherhood, even a healthy stepfather, right? The importance of fatherhood and stepfathers and uncles and brothers that step in. We don't need you to come mentor the kid, right, just to get to the mama, right? Because that right there creates an issue in itself. Now you not with the mama forever. You done walked out on him. You done did the same thing as daddy did, right? Abandonment issues. Or you done did the same thing. It ain't necessarily that his dad walked out of his life, but you done abandon him in the same manner, right? When you're not consistent. So consistency is the key. I think about what the principal said. He said, I never had someone show up the way that you show up for these kids over at Southfield at the school, right? And I was just saying that I thought it was important that if I tell a kid I'm going to do something, right? Numbers 30 verse 2, I can take you to that. Every word that come out of our mouth, that's our mantra, right? Yeah. That's what we do, right? If we say we're going to do something in that manner, especially in our mentoring areas, we're going to do it. And so to highlight we cannot get by without saying there are some exceptional stepfathers. There are some stepfathers who have stepped in, right, and pulled off some of the coldest miracles this side of Moses.
We out here. We out here. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right, because you got to deal with a bunch as a stepfather.
Yeah.
But on that, back down there to you, Dave, on that situation, right? What? Because I know you mentor and you always involved, and that's what I love since we met. That your consistency is same thing with Mel. So I'm glad you guys got that Power Hour show coming up the 28th of November. You guys don't want to miss that. Get an hour in of some prayer, some conversation, right? And sometimes we go over. It's a powerful time for males to bond. Yeah. But go ahead, Dave. What's your take on that subject?
Well, I think that the continuity is important. Matter of fact, I can validate it with a story. I mentored in Bloomfield area, and I mentored in Pontiac. And so each one, when I first come in to do my presentation, this is what happens. We have people come in and do a presentation, and they disappear like Houdini, and they don't come back.
Right.
Well, then the kid, being a kid, 9, 10, they ain't paying that much attention to you. Cause, when I was a kid sitting there, I'm trying to figure out how long he gonna talk, because I need to get his cutie. You see what I'm saying? Right. So I'm not paying attention.
Right.
So I would say to them, look, any of y'all that want to see me, this is the key point about continuity. I said I will come back, and I will come every week for those that want to see me. So I had 20 kids in Pontiac and 20 kids in the school in Bloomfield. First, I'm going to show you what happens here. In Bloomfield, they got a different mentality. The kids there they don't think about what they want to be in the sense of being a basketball player, football player. They think about, well, I'm going to open up a pharmacy. I'm going to go be a doctor so I can open my own clinic. In Pontiac, they think, I'm going to be a rapper. I'm going to be a basketball player, football player. None of these things are bad, but you get to see the mentality of their thinking.
That's right. That's right.
So and because of that, I tell them that is fine and well and dandy. But the bigger thing is that who are you developed to become outside of the role of a career? Because, see, that's what you do. That's not who you are. But how can you develop a person to become who they are if you're not consistent with them? See, and this was my thing. So these kids sign up. So I ended up with basically 40 kids. And then in the end, when some of them were graduating, I told them that would be the graduation. The most rewarding thing that I received was when I got there, they said he showed up. He showed up. See, what had happened is that I built a level of trust. And this is what's important for us across the board with our children, is that we have to build trust. Most of these kids don't have a level of trust for anybody because they're always let down. And it's because of the lack of continuity. So I think it's essential that if we're going to be involved, just like we are in the military, when you first enter the military, the first thing I say to you, I'm your mama, I'm your daddy, I'm everything you ever need, because everything outside of this base don't matter. It's just me. And, the rest of my team.
Right.
But what happens is you see a transformation. And why does a transformation happen? Because we're consistent. We're gonna basically take everything you knew from out of the civilian world, we're gonna strip you down, and we're gonna make you a soldier. But you can't build a soldier unless you're consistent. You can't build even a race car or a model car unless you consistently work on it, right?
Right.
But in the end, is what you're trying to produce is that level of a person becoming to know who they are. In the military, we say, now you're a soldier. Out here, we want to build men, but you have to be consistent. So consistency is everything, because this is what we see. Most of our young people, they see people talk good. Is they talking loud, saying nothing? And they're all not doing nothing. See, there's one thing, I think the gentleman said that, we have to communicate. But communication without participation is useless, because we can talk all day long. Well, we're talking now, but it's action that's gonna matter, and that's where the consistency comes into play.
Well, yeah. So action is, I always say this, of course, I'm always creating a T-shirt or a jacket or something. My man say, always be creative. Never let your life get so busy that you're not creative, because you never know what idea God is gonna put into your system, right? When you so busy, you don't get no ideas, right? So it's always an idea. And so in this process, birthing this podcast was, it was really me calling, getting on one day and seeing a friend. Sabrina was on here, and then Mel was like, tell Calvin to come on. Miles like, tell Calvin to come on in here. You get his show, you know what I mean? And so, but 2 months is here. I said, I'm going to do it. Boom, we right here. consistency, right? And so to move in further on another piece as we talk about it right now, we're doing the Smash Suicide campaign, right? The telling thing in this, and then we're gonna move quickly on this. The telling thing about suicide is in our children. As soon as you remove, for my boys, right? As soon as you take, right, his ingredients is gone. So as soon as you walk out, as soon as you move away, and I'm telling you, man, on a personal note, that is very, very painful. And a lot of a lot of men don't want to admit that. But to me, for me, and having gone through the trials and tribulations I've gone through, it's very, very painful when you're not in the house with your children every day. Very painful. You can justify it. You can dress it up like a turkey and put chicken in it. It don't matter. That's a very, very painful thing for us because we know we're not there. There's some ingredients they're not getting. There's some things they're not being taught. And Kev, the funny thing about that is that you feel that when you are alone. That's why we have partnerships with doctors at Good Fathers Only and Encouragement. I mean, so you can reach out and get that. You know what I mean? Because it's just so important. So to the suicide piece, I strategically released, right, the Smash Suicide campaign, initiated with black boys, right? I watched culture, right? I'm big, and we gonna jump in here real quick, but I'm big on, I watch culture. Very little movement. Very little movement. Anything on boys, very little movement. Any conversations, very little. We wait till the boy is in trouble, then we call and we want to get a mentor. We don't see what's progressed ahead of time, right? Male is with 5 to 12-year-olds. The number one age group in suicide is what, male? 5 to 12-year-olds. You see that? Right? That's in black boys, right? And so then racism say, hey, well, wait a minute, I really feel sorry. No, guess who number 2 is, Mr. Racism? White boys. You see what I'm saying? And so when we get into these dynamics, pushing the message across suicide, then when you look at suicide across the board from 5 to 80, right? White males or black males, number 1 or 2. Don't matter. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Right? And so this is what we do, right? Participating in the system, the whole nine, the racism and the hate that we draw, we're all reaping as men, right? So I just wanted to throw that out there. But the Smash Suicide campaign continues. We're on our phase 3 where, we ask some people, purchase a t-shirt, put this on your kid, right? We got to go 10 years, 10 cities, 10 million, right? So we can put the empowerment center together, make sure that we touching these different cities, 4 cities in America, right? We pick 10 of them. But I'm saying all that to say, I have to touch on this, guys. I watched only 2 people, right? When the guy was standing up talking about he did more for black people.
Yeah.
Right? We ain't never saying his name. We ain't got to say his name. When he stood up and said he did more for black people. Right. I sat back and I said, let me see, right? D.L. Hughley said something and Roland Martin said something. Everybody else, hands in the air, right? How you let somebody tell you all the struggles and the great things that we've accomplished in this country as black people, all the inventions, all the things we've done for each other. You don't even have a plant without the black man, right? So when we get into these things, how do you let them, from now on, you will never, ever, you can never say you did more for us. We did it for ourselves through all these trials and tribulations. So we're never going to accept that. I rebuke that in the name, Kev, in the name.
Yeah. No other name.
In the name.
In the name of Jesus. Amen.
That's right. Right. So that's what we have to, that's where us as men are coming together and speaking up and telling our stories. This is our story, right? Now I'm just checking on the time. We at the 30 mark.
28 minutes.
Okay, good. And so I want to go into the second half. It's all about us. It's all about celebrating Daddy. It's all about you, right? All the good that you do. This is about us. So the next 15 minutes or so, it's about us, right? And I want to acknowledge my brother Corn, right? as a father, we all have a lot of things, right? We deal with a lot. We've gone through a lot, right? And so him being one of my younger brothers and my mentor, watching him through the network dealing about with his son and watching him handle that, it inspired me. You know, you a major college coach, and you're literally helping boys, men, right, future young men, and you making your son, you coming all the way from driving from Iowa State to Michigan to be at a parent-teacher conference, getting on the plane, like you making your things happen. Anybody can make excuses, but I watched that. I watched that story, right? And for 18 years, I watched my brother put on a show. So I just want to acknowledge him, let him know he is the real deal. You see what I'm saying? When we talk about fatherhood, he's a great example. Or when you're not in the house, this is how you do it. You know what I mean? And so I just wanted to let him know I'm proud of him, you know, and let him know there's a lot of other men and fathers that do great things. So who is that one person you want to give it up to, or you can give it up to yourself? This is Daddy Talk time. This is where we talk about ourselves and love on ourselves.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, go for it, baby.
Oh man, let me tell you, my first as me. I'm telling you my story, man. Ooh, my baby mama put me through the ringer, man, unnecessarily, you know. And there was so many times I wanted to, or I had opportunities to move on, move out of state. You know what I'm saying? And I said I couldn't go because I didn't want to leave my kids. You know, and I was like really in a bad spot mentally, because of the stuff she was doing to me. And every time I tried to reach out to her, like, you know what, we can do this. We can come together and, you know what I'm saying, and co-parent. I mean, even to this day, she still has that animosity. You know what I'm saying? My kid's grown, you know, and it's sad that I got to the point where now I can't even communicate with her, period, because of all the stuff she did to me. But my kids, I'm still in their life. I still do everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm consistent, like you say, consistency, man. And so I see a lot of brothers, man, that's out here struggling, is going through the same thing I went through, man. And I pull them to the side and I give them encouraging words. And I tell them, man, you can get through this, you know. You can get through this. So I'm going to give a big shout out to all the fathers and stepfathers.
Do your thing.
You know what I'm saying? Grandfathers that's raising kids. And I know a lot of people, man, that's just not out there doing their thing. And I had to pull these brothers to the side like, man, your kids need you. Your son needs you. He's looking up to you, man. You know what I'm saying? I can teach him, but he looks up to you. You know what I'm saying? And these brothers, man, they just lost in the sauce. And I'm like, man, what is we going to do? So, you know what I'm saying? It's hard. But that's why, you know, when Cal told me, man, I'm doing this mentoring, I shot right over there, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I felt I still had a whole lot of daddy in left for him, because he's not taught to cry. You know what I'm saying? And as I get older, I talk to my brothers and I tell them, man, hey, it's okay, man. You know, and we need that. And I see the healing part coming in there. You know what I'm saying? So big ups to everybody that's trying, the brothers that's trying. Cal, you doing your thing, man. You know, and I appreciate being here. You know?
Awesome. The case in point to add to that, Kev, is statistically the most important person is still the biological father, right? So Dave, your take, who you want to give it up to?
Well, I give it up to his man, Dewan, right?
Yep, that's right.
Is to all the fathers.
Yeah.
Whether knowingly or unknowingly, I give it up to them, because each man is to me is like a book with chapters, and until he lay in that box, he's still building chapters in his book, and so that means he has different pages of stories to tell, and sometimes we make prejudgments on people and we don't know their story. But as you get to talk with different men and you hear their story, and fortunate enough in my 37 years in the military, I talk to a lot of men. I've seen men that could shoot their name on the wall at hardcore, as you say, but I can catch them in the fetal position in the corner because they hurt. See, I always tell people, as you said, about shedding tears. Jesus lament. But the bigger thing is that if God didn't want you to shed tears, he wouldn't have gave you tear ducts. You know, make sure the women had them and then men wouldn't have them.
Yeah, you'd be closed up.
That's right. He didn't want you to have emotions. He made you an android or a robot. You know? But he didn't make us like that. He made us human.
Right.
So that being said, it's important that we recognize the importance of being able to share emotions, but there's a check and balance of emotion. That's why they call it emotional intelligence. You have to know how to use the emotions. They didn't teach us this, and so therefore it makes it difficult. But again, no man can give you what he don't have. Don't say that.
I want to throw this in there. We didn't teach us this.
Well, that's true too. Because as we evolve, we should. What your daddy didn't do, you should be learning to do. And as we move through the generations, we get more knowledge.
Yes, sir.
The more knowledge we get, the more we should be sharing. But I like to give a shout out to my granddaddy, the first mentor, because he was a talker. He was a man that took time to explain it. Even if he was whooping you behind, he was explaining why he was whooping you behind. So you get the picture of why you're getting whooped. You see? He wasn't just whooping on you. And then he sits down and gives you a broad lesson. And my mother was the same way. They were narratives. They were people that gave narration to whatever they were doing. Because you need, the Bible said all things. He didn't say be right. He said get understanding. Right. And that's what we have to pass down. So I think starting with that, and then my two dads, each one gave me what they had. One father was very diligent. He was a carpenter. You know, he worked hard. He had a good work ethic. The other had a good work ethics too, but he had some other issues going on. But he gave me the thing about, hey, this is how you run the streets. This is how you do things. Well, that might not be what everybody want to hear, but there's a check and balance. Because when I joined the Army at 18 years old, I mean, I was street savvy, so I could handle a lot of the New Yorkers, the Chicagoans, all them brothers that were slick and to the nine. Yeah. I was ready for them. So you take all this information and it forms a way of you becoming the man you need to be. As the gentleman said, he's 63, I'm 62. I ain't the guy I was at 22.
Right.
You know. So again, I give a shout out to myself because, as you said, becoming and now developing and now passing on. I did my due diligence, and like Mel, my son respects me. My son stands up for me. My son values me. My son will get up in your face about me because I put the time in. When I would come in on leave, nobody else mattered but my children. I said, I'll see you when they go to bed. Right. Because I only got a window, 2-week window. So I need to be all about them. My mothers, my sister and brothers, was all about putting it in the agenda. And it's paid off in the long run.
That's awesome. Brother Kev.
Yeah, man, this is powerful, man. You know, one thing you guys were talking about, but I want to give a shout out to really all the brothers that are doing a great job taking care of their family, doing the best they can within the system, without the system, whatever it is. But you guys hit a couple of things. One, you got to have a great, great heart. See, our children, and I know you guys know this, our children are part of our heart, man. They're part of our DNA. So we're going to hurt. We're going to do, we're going to have an emotion because they're part of us. So what's so important today, guys, is that we got to make sure that we share our love and compassion with our young men. But I want to take the hats off again to the brothers out there who are doing a great job. And because guess what, guys, they got to have a mindset today. Your mindset has to be tight. It also has to be growing as well. Because, you could easily say, I'm out of here. I ain't doing all this because of all the different areas, John. We're talking about you still got to work. You got a business, right? If you have a business, you got to do, may have to pay all the bills. You may have to, if stuff break down, you got to get it fixed. If the daughter or your son calls you, you got to roll with that. And then you got the drama stuff. I ain't going to go there, but I'm just saying you got drama with the mama, possibly, right? And you still got to manage all that. So I take my hats off, man, to the brothers who go through all of that and still maintain a good attitude about the situation. That's key perfect. Right there, guys.
Thank you. So, Brother Mel.
Gentlemen.
No. If I have to give a shout out to just one, I just can't do it because there's so many men that God has got me in touch with, who I admire, who I've gleaned wisdom and knowledge out of. Yeah. And it helped me as a father to raise my children. I know one of the things that I always prayed, even before I had my first child, is, Lord, give me the tools to be a good father because I don't know how to be one. I had a father and I love him, but he did not give me the tools, but I understand now he didn't get the tools either. So I wanted to end that. So that's why I'm always learning. That's why I'm always talking to other men with children. It's like I want to glean as much information as possible so I can be the very best. So, I give shout outs to all the men that's in my life who has been an inspiration to me, who wasn't close-fisted when it comes to information. And I think that's the key in helping fathers to be the best they could be, is that don't be close-fisted with information. If you got something that will help somebody else, share it, because this will help the community. We are a community. We as men who have children, and even if we don't have children, I give shout out to all the mentors who took the time to be in another child's life, because they need somebody, they need a man to be able to teach them that, hey, this is what needs to happen in order for you to be a responsible adult. This is what needs to happen to be a leader. This is what you can do to make society a better place. So
awesome. So Mel, you guys covered it, right? We moving into this last phase. You only get 1 minute on this next thing, but the message that I want to put out is next Monday we're gonna have boys in here, right? Showing their talents, doing their things, see what they're about, talking to the young boys, right? The following Monday, we're going to be talking to the young girls and their talents and their mothers. And then the last Monday is wine and relationships. We're going to figure out how to stay together, right? We're going to have these conversations on staying together because it ultimately is important to the legacy. But last question, and this is to everyone, right, in here. You only get 1 minute. Say something good to the person, your dad, your uncles, right? The people who may not have never heard your voice. You get 1 minute to tell them something good, right? We're gonna raise the ancestors, right? And so, like, when they get to me, you'll hear me talk about my dad. I got something to say to him. So, starting with you, Juan.
Yeah.
1 minute.
A message to my father. I love you. I know that you tried your best. It was times that you were shut off and you didn't really talk to us. It's a lot of things that I wish you would have taught me as a man, as a young boy. But I took all those lessons and I turned them over to my son. I said, everything I teach my son is stuff I wish my father would have taught me. You know what I'm saying? And I tell brothers all the time, talk to your kids. You don't think they listening, but they are. Yeah. And I just constantly keep talking and talking and talking and talking. And you know what I'm saying? And he told me one time, he's like, Dad, I remember you told me this. I remember this, you know. So I take a lot of that the animosity that I had towards my own father, like, I wish you would have talked to me. I wish you would have did this. I wouldn't have to figure it out. But in essence, that made me the better man that I am. So I took all that and I took it and I put it towards my own kids. So shout out to my father, you know, and that's how it go.
Brother Dave.
Well, I'd like to say to my dads and my granddad, thank you for being the best model you knew how to be. I thank you for setting up a foundation that I could build upon, as I know that you couldn't give me what you didn't have, but what you did have, you gave me. And I'm truly appreciative because I believe sincerely from the heart, it made me the man I am today.
Awesome. Brother Mel.
Though my father is not alive today, I do want to say one thing to him if he was alive, is that I understand that, you know, you didn't get the tools to be a father and you didn't pass them on to me, but I still love you because you were present. You were a hardworking man and you did not leave myself and my mother. And for that, I appreciate that. And the one thing I always remember is that you told me before you died is that you were proud of me, the way I was raising my children. So I will always remember that. And I will carry that on for generations.
Oh, that's good. That's real good. Brother Kev.
Oh, man, that's powerful, man. Hey, my dad is still living. And I'm going to tell you guys, growing up, I didn't understand my dad, right? But actually going to college and then having my own family, I literally had to go back and understand my dad a little better. But probably one of the best things I was excited about. Now, my dad really never told me he loved me. He kind of showed it. He never really said it. I found out that the Vaughan family really didn't do a lot of that stuff back in the day.
Yeah.
But what I did, guys, when I got mature enough and got a little better understanding of what the of living is and what having a family is, I literally went back and told my dad how much I love him several times now, that how much I love him, and not expecting him to say it back to me, but I was continuing saying it to him. So if anything else, I just thank my dad for being who he was. He did his best. I didn't know he was doing his best at the time, but now I look back, he did his best.
Exactly.
I say one thing, gentlemen, that they didn't kill us, so we're still here. They must have did a pretty good job.
Exactly.
Right.
So thank you
right.
for that.
That's awesome. So what time we got, Brother Miles?
45 minutes. We're going to 46 minutes.
Okay, good. So I'm first of all, I'm gonna speak to my dad and my Uncle Don.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was there when no one was there. Middle school, when I was on this island all by myself, a chubby little boy, he made me believe it was possible. And he was there, my middle school years, right? I used to fight to go be with my dad, you know. So my Uncle Don set me at his basketball game when I was 7. 6 and 7 years old, watching him run out to play basketball at Ferndale High School. And later on, he and I coaching together and doing a great job with a lot of young men. I want to say thank you. Thank you for being an example. Thank you, my mom and my dad, for putting on their DNA the help of others. God using them to allow them. My mom used to help prostitutes. My dad, being a pastor at church, he always was helping. Even he was out of the church. I was there. I watched him, helped him put up paneling at his sister's home. Didn't charge her nothing, to the detriment of his health. Prostate cancer. He ended up passing, right? But my Uncle Don, who caught me at one of my worst moments. I was lost, and he just pulled me in front of a mirror. I'll never forget it. I'm telling you, and this is funny. You guys getting ready to laugh. I was dressed like Michael Jackson. And when I tell you this, man, he had me and pulled me. He said, "Man, come here, man.
I'm going to let you slide on that."
Yeah, you're going to have to, right? But I had the polka dot tie with the polka dot socks, right? We getting ready to go play a game. It's my cousin's first game on varsity, right? We getting ready for the game. I come in there. He said, "Hey, man, come here." He pulled me in front of the mirror. He said, "Man, look at you." Right? So I look in the mirror. He said, "Man, what is that?" You done let that girl get your nose wide open, man. What is you doing?
Hey, that's a whole other subject on that. The influence women have on us. Oh my God.
That's a topic.
We'll save that for another time.
Oh yeah.
Hey, man. Hey, man. So I took the towel, right? I went to pull my pants down because they was a little hot and everything. Put my coach thing. I say, "Man, good looking, man." I appreciate that. You know what I mean? And so I just want to say thank you to those men that really looked out.
Yep.
And so that brings us to the talent that my father gave me, which is in all of his kids, his music. And this Friday, we're going to release a song called "Put Your Family First." It is important that we get to that level, right? How important family really is. So we got a few seconds before, because that's how we're going to take the show out. Before we go, again, shout out to my sponsors, The Inspired Journey by Heather Rue. The number is 313-759-7855. A1 from Day One, A1 Plumbing. Brother Sean, 313-478-2944. And my sister Tiffany over at www.etcassistant.com. Virtual personal assistant, mobile notary, and bail bonds. 313-771-4628. Anybody want to get out, you can get on with us. But go ahead, Brother Miles. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate you for doing this to me. Although I should run out the door and not take on nothing else, but I appreciate you. Put your family first. This podcast will be only about family and solutions going forward. Remember, beautiful is the only way to say family. My name is Calvin Mann, and you have just watched the first episode of the Emmy TV podcast.